Can the wise be equated with the unwise? Only the wise will remember. Quran 39-9. These were the first words of the Quran that struck me. And when I read them, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wondered what I had to know in order to be able to understand. What, in fact, is knowledge? What is there in reading books and studying theories, philosophies and thoughts if in the end we still can't find any meaning to our existence? Western answers to this dilemma only left me frustrated, uncomfortable, hopeless and, ultimately, depressed. At the time, I no longer believed in God or prayed. How I got to that point, I'm really not sure. One day I believed in God, I was a Christian, Protestant, and the next, even thinking about the existence of a God, a creator, seemed meaningless to me. I used to read part of the Old or New Testament every day and also study it. I found beautiful words, but they were practically discarded because no one I knew lived by them. Observing the way people live, how things happen, how deals and arrangements are made around the world so that some are superior to others, I concluded in my mind that it was a very unfair world. The words of the Bible, so beautiful, were nothing more than the invention of some man. Religion was nothing more than a way of keeping the poor and oppressed calm, satisfied and submissive, like cattle. It was the opium of life. I thought, if there is a God, he is cynical and unjust. I don't do business with unjust people and I won't do business with an unjust God. I wished I'd never learned to read and I wanted to be like the other people around me. Go to work, come home, watch TV, and accept everything that is said there, read Sidney Sheldon, buy clothes, etc. I thought I would live happily like that. But I was on a path of no return. After everything I'd seen, I couldn't find any reason to live. I stopped looking for different possibilities of how creation came to exist and decided that the whole world had come into being, by chance. While I was in this state, I was still very bothered by all the injustices happening in the world and decided that I had to defend a minority. I happened to choose Muslims and started learning about Islam. I had never heard of Islam before, but I was curious to know who those terrorists were, as they were often called by the West. I knew that if the TV showed them as evil, it was necessary to investigate, because something was hidden. I knew that the only way to learn about Islam was to be in contact with Muslims. In Brazil, my country, we don't have many communities. So I went online and met many in chat rooms. A young Saudi Muslim told me about Nazar Kabana. I researched him and found a poem called, I Am With Terrorism. The poet mentions many events and places totally unknown to me and I realized how ignorant I was. I had never heard of any of those facts. One day, I was chatting with a friend and he showed me a website where I could read the Quran. I opened it and randomly chose a surah, chapter, to read. The title was in Arabic and I asked him what it meant in English. He told me it was, the Day of Judgment. I remember him asking me why I had chosen that chapter of the Quran. I remember saying that if there were a God and he were omniscient, omnipresent and omnipotent, I would know that words of punishment cannot affect me in any way. Instead, I look for words of hope, reasonable and effective words of hope. Back then, I remember that every night I had the same wish. I wished I wouldn't wake up the next day. But the next day my eyes were open again. It was getting to an unbearable level. I left Brazil and came to Germany. One day I was really desperate. I made ablution the way I read Muslims did, prostrated myself the way I knew Muslims did and said, God, if you are real, deliver me from this situation. Show me the way. Alhamdulillah, all praise is to Allah. He did. I felt enormous peace in my heart. In my German classes there are some Muslim sisters. I asked for some books on Islam and they gave me some. That's when I got my first Quran. May Allah bless you all. I read the Quran, and there I found, I did not create mankind and the jinns except to worship me. Quran 51-56, and we have made some of you as tests for the rest. Will you, O believers, persevere? Quran 25-20, and all the answers I was looking for were there. My life didn't change, it remained difficult most of the time. What has changed is my attitude to life. The difference is that I now know that He is my Lord and my Wali, guardian, and I am grateful for everything He has blessed me with. Hagar is a 42-year-old convert to Islam. She has a degree in linguistics and literature and specializes in Portuguese language and literature.